It was mine too, till I met you. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. The only you, Jesus, when I met you, when you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. I needed rescue, my sin was heavy, the chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan, now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing, now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open, it's when you called my name. Oh, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day.
Hello, good evening, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to FSN Conversations. Kamusta na po kayo? So, we have a very interesting conversations tonight. Kasi yung guest natin, we look up to this priest. And of course, to all the priests, no, they are the epitome of service para sa akin po yan, no. And the title of our conversations tonight is Behind the Vestment. So we will be going to know more a lot dun sa guest speaker natin tonight dito sa conversation on a personal level. And I'm sure he has a lot of wisdom that he can impart to all of us. But before I introduce our guest speaker, allow me to interact muna sa inyo mga kapatid. No? So good evening once again. And if you are excited sa conversations natin tonight, can you type heart shape? Heart shape po dyan sa comment section natin. Pwede po ba kayo mag-type dyan? Kasi kita niyo naman po yung picture, no? Nung ating guest speaker tonight, no, naka finger heart si Father, no? So if you are excited about our conversation, why don't you type heart comment dyan sa comment section natin. Right, good evening po. Good evening everyone. Okay. Hello, hello. Ayan, no? May nakita na ako sa comment section natin. Si Sis Dalia, good evening po. Si Tita Dang, hello Tita Dang. So, the other day, I prayed with Tita Dang. No? What a blessed evening that was, no? Praying with Tita Dang. Good evening po. Great Saturday evening. All right. So, keep it coming, mga kapatid. Si Bro Steph, nakita ko may comment. Good evening po brothers and sisters. Shout out din sa mga ka-LG sa feast sa San Pablo. Wow, may pa-shout out si Brother Steph ha. Mga shelter natin dyan, mga ka-shelter group natin. Alright, so we have a very, very interesting discussion behind the vestment. Yan, so we're going to know yung journey ni Father. Nako, minention ko na Father Ting, yung journey niya later. We're going to know more about him on a personal level. And again, good evening, brothers and sisters. Keep it coming, guys, yung mga comments. Good evening, brothers. Good evening, Sis Ninya. I saw your comment. Good evening po. Bro Steph, good evening. Sino pa pong nandyan? Si Bro Ferdy. Brother Bods, good evening po. Kamusta na yung mga harvest natin dyan sa sagingan mo, bro? So, good evening po. Good evening, everyone. It was a busy week I'm sure it was a busy week for all of us, no? And this Saturday, we want to be refreshed and through these conversations. And tomorrow, exciting. Tomorrow is Sunday. So please tune in again tomorrow no sa Feast at Home natin, sa Feast at Home community natin. I'm sure it's going to be a blessed talk again tomorrow after the Mass, of course. Right, good evening, Sis Jem. Hello po. Kamusta ka na, Sis Jem? Kamusta na? So, sino pa po? Nanonood kaya yung misis ko? Misis ko, hindi ako pinapanood sa conversations eh. So anyway, so without any further ado, I'll be introducing to you our guest speaker for tonight. Ang guest natin sa conversation. I'm sure nakita niyo naman na yung poster invite natin, naka-heart shape pa si Father, di ba? So ang guest po natin, he has a lot of years of experience on his shoulder, no? He's been a priest for 30 years. Pero wala sa itsura ni Father, no, that he has been a priest for 30 years. And he's been a member of Salesians of Don Bosco for quite some time already. 40 years. Wow. And he is the assistant parish priest of St. John Bosco Parish and Center for Young Workers dyan sa Santa Rosa po. And more than of those things na na-mention natin, he's a close friend of FSN. So si Father, lagi ko siyang nakikita during our Catholic course, no, yung every Saturday natin na Catholic course. And of course during Mass, no, especially nung prior to pandemic, siya po yung nagmamass before the feast, no, nung pwede pa yung face to face. Those were the days. Let us all welcome, bigyan naman natin ng warm welcome, Father Ting Miciano. I-greet naman natin si Father, mga kapatid, dito sa comment section. Hi Father, good evening po.
Hello, good evening Brother Renan.
You look good, Father, ha? Fresh na fresh po. And
Thank you.
I love the green screen, Father, ha? Parang talagang ready kayo sa mga virtual sessions nyo, no?
Talagang nandito kami nagre-record ng mga catechism namin.
Apo. So, everything is virtual pa rin, Father po, no? And especially, nabalitaan namin what happened dyan sa parish natin. So, we are praying for you as well, Father po.
Thank you.
Everything will be well sa mga parishioners natin, and of course, sa lahat ng members po ng parish church natin dyan sa Don Bosco.
Thank you.
So, good evening po, Father, and welcome to FSN Conversations. Ngayon, Father, it's going to be quite different, no, from kumpara dun sa mga lecture na ginagawa niyo sa amin, sa mga lectures natin. Yung conversations natin tonight will be a little bit different, no, from the usual. Magtatanong kami, Father, kung okay lang sa inyo about yung mga personal stuff po ninyo, no, yung personal journey nyo to kickstart our conversations, Father. I'm interested to know po, can you talk us through, Father, dun sa journey nyo prior to your clergy life, no? When you were parang at the discerning pa lang kung magmi-mission po ba kayo? Or yung ganun, Father, can you talk us through your journey po? How and when you were able to know that you are being called by God to serve as a clergy? Yan. So,
Okay.
kickstart our conversation po.
Okay. So, thank you for inviting me, first of all. I'm very happy to be able to share with you my life, my personal life, and even siguro in a general way, the life of a priest, one who serves God directly and for the rest of his life. Now, yung mga naisip ko lang yung mga ginagamit nating mga terms ngayon, journey and discernment. Nung kapanahunan ko, hindi pa uso yan eh. So, ang parang na-experience ko lang, basta from the earliest that I can remember is, I want to be a priest. Ganon kasimple yun. And to qualify that, the earliest would mean I was a young boy. I was perhaps in the third grade, fourth grade. Ganun na, I was already interested in becoming a priest. First of all,
So, mga 9 years old, 10 years old po kayo niyan, Father, no?
Yes.
Wow.
No, sorry. Even earlier kasi, actually, my background, no, I come from Santa Cruz, Laguna. And if you don't know, Santa Cruz, Laguna is an Aglipayan town. It's not a Catholic town. Mas maraming Aglipay doon. But, I grew up in a Catholic family. Iisa lang yung Aglipay namin yung lolo ko. But he was converted before he died. And then, the family of my mom has, the youngest girl entered the convent. Naging St. Paul's sister ang auntie. No, up to now, she's still a St. Paul's sister. And so my mom and my auntie, these are the two greatest influences in my life, in my religious life. And as early as, siguro, young boy ako, siguro 5 or 6, tinuruan na akong mag-rosary and to say the simple prayers by my auntie and by my mom. Siguro doon nagsimula lahat yun. Doon sa prayers, no? Especially the rosary. So, that early, no? So, bakit ako nahilig sa maging pare? Kasi at the earliest time then, siguro nga yung mga 9 years old, I became what we call a sacristan. O ngayon, yung COA, yung Knights of the Altar, yung nagsiserve sa church. No? So I became with my brother, I have an older brother, nagserve kami in the church. Mga diocesan priest pa ang mga pari noon. So ang focus ko is diocesan priest, to become a diocesan priest. And their seminaries in San Pablo City. Pero yung parish namin was entrusted to the Pime missionaries, mga religious Pime, mga Italiano. So, kasi nga Aglipayan eh. And the Pime missionaries are very strong, active, very yung forceful in converting non-Catholics. So, I became so attached to the Pime fathers and my family, my whole family. So, isa pa yun, siguro influence na natanggap ko to really pursue ang tawag namin hindi course hindi idea but a vocation, no? What we call it a vocation, no? To the priesthood. And yun nga, so yung mga influences ko, yung mga female fathers, the second one, and then my service in the church as an altar boy. And then as far as I remember, it's grade 6, di ba uso? Ewan ko lang kung na-experience niya yan, di ba? Bago mag-graduation, nagpapalitan niya ng mga notes, no? Mga notebooks, pocketbooks. Kaya isusulat lahat doon, yung mga kung sino ka. And then, sinulat ko doon sa what do you want to be afterwards? I want to be a priest.
Wow.
Simple as that.
At
And everybody knows that. Everybody, my companions, whom I are in touch up to now, my companions in elementary, no, they know I want to be a priest. So after graduation, grade 6, I went to the seminary, and then they knew that. So ganun ako nagsimula. Tapos I tried the San Pablo Seminary, the Diocesan Seminary, but yung mga pinsan ko kasi, they studied in Don Bosco, Mandaluyong. And so they introduced me to Don Bosco. So I also tried their seminary in Pampanga, and I really liked it. So I ended up entering the high school seminary in Don Bosco, Pampanga. Kasi doon yung seminary. So I spent 4 years there. And then yung tinatawag nating discernment, no? So doon na nagsimula talaga, especially in 4th year, na pinag-decide kami, pinag-retreat kami, ano bang gusto nyo after high school? Will you continue? Or will you go back to your family? I decided to continue. Although kalahati ng klase namin, they decided to go back. No?
50% po of the entire.
And by the way, when we started first year in high school, we were the biggest number of ang tawag namin aspirants, seminarians. We were 60 plus in first year. So they have to divide the first year class into 2. There are 2 sections. Doon lang nangyari yan. In the whole history of the seminary, doon lang.
Sa batch nyo po na yun. Wow.
Yes. So we ended up mga 30 kami nung 4th year. And then, sabi ko half proceeded to college. And then in college, meron din dumating na mga from the Visayas because we also have a high school seminary in Cebu. So nag-join kami, dumami na naman kami. And then ang college namin in philosophy is in Canlubang, Laguna. Dito malapit sa atin yung seminary, which is up to now our philosophy and college seminary. At doon talaga, there was 1 year of thinking lang. 1 year. You will devote 1 year just to pray, to think, and to decide whether you want to be a Salesian. O yon. After that 1 year, I decided to remain and become a Salesian. Doon nagsimula yung tinatawag nating my life as a religious, as a professed religious. So Salesian na ako. So I professed 3 vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience in 1981. That was parang 3rd year college. And then I proceeded to finish the college. I finished a Bachelor of Science in Education, major in mathematics. But don't worry about that. Term lang yun, term. may minor pa kami, physics. Don't worry about that.
Father, tatanungin ko sana kayo ano yung 8 times 7 Sige po.
Talaga mahina ako sa mathematics.
Opo.
And then, so, after college, di teacher ang labas namin . So, because we have so many schools. Kaya ang course namin, we have no other course but a teaching course. So, mga teachers kami lahat. So, after college, I taught in Cebu for 3 years, in the high school and in the seminary. And then, after that, pinag-decide ulit kami, are you going to continue? Oh, yes, I decided to continue. Tapos, bumalik ako sa Parañaque for our final years of 5 years, tinatawag namin theology. At doon talaga yung discernment, kung gusto mo maging priest or not. And so, after so many experiences, I've been in seminary for about 17 years. I decided to become a priest. So, I was ordained a priest on December 8, 1990. Kaya sa December 8, 31 years na ako. At the moment, I'm 30 years. 30 years.
Sabi ko na nga, Father, galing niyo po sa math.
That's it. That's the whole journey before I became a priest. Yeah.
Opo, that's the in a nutshell po, no, that's the entire journey. Parang it seems so simple, Father, when I was listening to you, no? You mentioned po na it started with a desire. Sabi niyo po, I just want to be a priest at an early age po, no? 9 years old, 10 years old. And Father, ang siguro what struck me here is yung environment din po, no? You mentioned about your influences, very important, your auntie and your mother. And then within that, after that, may influence din outside home. You serve as a sacristan, then doon na po pumasok yung mga, and that fuel po ba, Father, the desire to become a priest.
Yeah.
Father, ako din ganun din ako. Actually, naalala ko, Father, yung yearbook ko nung high school. Nakalagay dun po, pag binalikan ko, I want to be a priest.
Mhm.
Pero obviously, Father, hindi po natuloy, di ba? Pero
Oo.
it sounded so simple.
Yeah, yeah.
Based from your story. Pero let's talk about the challenges naman po that you experience. But before you answer that, Father, I captured some of the numbers that you mentioned. Sabi niyo po, you started as 60 students, then fall out of 50%. Sabi niyo po, no, after 4 years. And then siguro from what you know, Father, ilan talaga yung naging priest from 60? I don't know kung ilan po yon.
So,
And from,
we
apa,
ended up noong 1996 from that
six,
original first
60.
year high school. 6.
So from the original 60 po, 6. So that's 10%. Tama po, no? That's only 10%. Sabihin nating success rate. Tama po, Father, no? So I'm sure the rest 90% experience difficulties and challenges. That's why they have their own reason to drop out. So kayo, Father, different touch points of discernment and nagtuloy-tuloy po kayo. Tell us about the challenges that you experience po on this journey that you told us about kanina. And
Ah,
how were you able to continue on?
Siguro, the first thing that came to my mind with regards to challenges was financial, no? So siguro
Mm.
alam niyo na it's not what do you call easy financially to study in the seminary, no? So yun, kasi I have to tell you also that my father died when I was grade 2. So
Whoa.
ang breadwinner lang ay ang nanay, no? So and the seminary is quite expensive at that time, ah. Although I remember yung parang lahat tuition fee, boarding fee namin at that time was 200 pesos. Malaki na yon at that time, that 1974. So financially, I think that was one of the greatest challenges I have. But providentially, siguro God wants it na I the superiors, the priest, saw that I needed some financial help, so they gave me some benefactors to help me. So and my nanay. So all throughout, even from high school to college. By the way, up to second year college lang ang we are supposed to pay for our training. After that, pag religious na kami, the congregation, the order will be the one to provide. So hanggang second year college lang. So all the way, I had some benefactors given by the priest and my relatives. So at least that one was taken care of. And then secondly, yung tinatawag nating crisis of faith, wala I did not experience that. I have you can say a
Wow.
trouble-free life, faith life, no? And I
Wow.
really thank God for that. So maganda. Kasi nga, yung foundation ko, medyo maganda din because of the influences of my auntie, my mother. And I forgot. Kasi magkapatid ang nanay at auntie eh. And they have a very good mother, my lola. Ayun, yung tatlong yon. Yung tatlong yon talaga. Ang
Nag-start
lola
at
was,
home talaga, Father po, ano?
yes, my lola was praying every day the rosary for me.
Wow.
I will not forget that, no, until she died. So yun. So wala akong crisis of faith. A little, let's say, emotional distraction.
Mm.
So nagka-crush ako dun sa sa mga So my brother studied in UP Los Baños. So may mga kasama siya doon. Nagka-crush ako, of course, very natural. I was able to overcome that. And I cannot really forget, I told my mother about it. Nay, I like this girl. Sabi ko, don't worry about that. Just consider that as a bad dream. Hindi ko makalimutan mo. So, limutan mo na. Very practical ano, nanay. And so I was able to, but even during the course up to the priesthood, syempre meron pa rin yan. Especially when you go for apostolate and you meet many other people. So, but ang key kasi dyan the real solution to that, in my experience, is prayer. Pag maganda ang foundation mo sa prayer, and then you kept on to it, perseveringly, you have a very solid guard against the temptations. So, na-experience ko yan.
Parang talagang, Father Ting, no, based from what you're sharing to us, foundation is very, very important po, no? So even there are temptations outside that might derail your mission during that time, you stayed on po, no? On track. Wow. So, thank you.
So, yung
and
last statement, siguro
Sige po,
meron
go
pa
ahead po.
yung sa family naman, wala akong masyadong distraction or opposition. They are so happy I entered. And then dun sa mga kasama ko sa seminary, I have a trouble-free relationship with my companions. So I think that all of them were a blessing. So yun ang mga dalawang challenges na nakita ko.
Talagang ano, Father, no, parang God designed everything for you, no? Parang napaka-smooth yung journey niyo po, no? Aside from the challenges that you have mentioned here. So, ako, I encourage everyone, yung mga audience natin, to, if you have questions to Father Ting, so please feel free to ask questions. I-type nyo lang dyan po sa chat box at itatanong natin yan kay Father Ting. Father Ting, di ko na itatanong kung sino yung naging crush nyo at the time.
Wala. Yes, awan.
So obviously, Father, no, before natin naman, Father, puntahan yung clergy life niyo naman po. I'm sure there are a lot of wisdoms or lessons that you would want to impart to us, no? Kasi sabi niyo po sa akin earlier, big part of being a clergy is you are in a mission. So before we go to that, Father, ano po, curious lang ako, Father, no, kasi ang ganda ng journey nyo, and sabi nyo po yung attrition rate ang taas, 10% lang yung naging talagang tumuloy. So ngayon, Father, ano po ba yung lagay ng mga kabataan who are interested sa pagmimisyon to become clergy and to enter priesthood, to enter seminary? So ano po yung difficulty na na-experience nyo currently dyan? And how would you advise yung mga parents who have children na nakikitaan ng potential, or yung mga kabataan na rin mismo? What advice can you give us? Kasi ako po, parent na rin po ako, may isa akong daughter, 2 years old, but very early pa. So with that yung situation na natin ngayon, bumababa po ba yung nagiging interesado in terms of numbers? And can you tell us more about that po, Father?
Yung sinabi mong bumababa yung mga interested, no? What seminary, or ipasok na natin yung mga women, no? Pumasok sa convent, maging mga madre. Understatement yung bumababa ang mga numbers. It's an understatement.
Wow.
Ang tawag ko doon, crisis. We really have a crisis of young people who are interested to become priests, religious, or mga madre. Crisis. Ang hirap-hirap, very little. Unlike in our time, very little. Small number ang nagde-decide na maging pare or madre. And you have to exert so much effort in order to attract them. Kasi ang lakas ng kalaban mo Ang lakas ng distraction ng mundo. So you have to think of ways to be hindi yan ang training namin No, hindi yan ang training namin. So we have to relearn actually. We have to relearn what the world is using para malabanan namin sila. So yan, that's the main difficulty that we have in attracting candidates for the priesthood and yung for the sisterhood. Tapos yung kakaunti na nga yung nakukuha namin, and it's a general situation. Halos lahat ng seminaries ganyan. No? Sa buong mundo, hindi lang sa Don Bosco, lahat. And then, ang isa pang problem is talagang ang lakas ng kalaban natin sa mundo. Ano? Nasa
Correct.
loob na sila, nagtitrain na sila, but they decide they will not continue. Yun ang masakit. No? And for example, ang tagal-tagal na nagtitraining na, malapit na maging pare. And then he will decide, because of discernment, in a way, it's good. But, nanghihinayang kami. At tagal-tagal na, malapit na maging ordained. He decides to leave. So, ganun. Kahit na, there is no surety na kahit na nasa seminary ka na, you will go until the end. No? So, talaga, ang solution namin dyan is to really follow up. Constant follow-up of the candidates and the seminarians. Kasi talagang malakas ang kalaban natin. And what do I suggest? Recommend to the parents and to the young people, listen to your heart. Kayo pong mga parents, kapag nakikita ninyo na parang interesado or they show signs of spirituality, religiosity sa mga anak ninyo, encourage it. Encourage. At ipagdasal ninyo. No? Doon po nagsimula. In my personal experience, doon po nagsimula. My mom and my auntie encouraged me. They prayed for me. And then, so, nagbunga. So, ganun po. Pag may nakikita kayong magandang signs, you encourage, you pray, you ask for advice from priests and mga madre, ganun po. Tapos sa mga young people, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to follow the Lord. Nako, napakaganda, napakasaya. And you will never run out of excitement and surprises when you serve the Lord.
Wow. Nako, thank you po for that encouragement, Father Ting. So, totoo po yung sinabi nyo, no, na ang lakas ng kalaban outside. So, there are a lot of things ngayon na siguro, Father, before, kaya you mentioned that you have to relearn po, no? Kasi ngayon, iba na talaga po, no, from your time probably. So, sige po, ipag-pray natin that more and more young people would embark, no, sa kagaya niyo pong dun sa journey na dinaanan niyo po. Sige, I would like to encourage everyone to ask questions. Kung may question kayo to Father Ting, so please type nyo lang sa chat box, then we'll be asking those questions later. So Doc, Doctor tuloy, Father, kasi medyo palagi po in my profession, Father, I'm a sales trainer sa ano po kasi,
Okay.
sa pharma industry. That's why madalas doktor yung kausap. So Father, let's go naman po dun sa second part of your journey, which is yung pari na po kayo, clergy na, you're serving the Lord na, full-blown na po, ika nga. So can you tell us about ano po yung mga natutunan nyo sa pagmi-mission nyo that parang you can impart wisdom and you can bless a lot of people who are listening to us right now po.
Okay, so yung second part ng journey ko when I was already ordained a priest, no? So I was ordained December 8, and then the superiors decided, you are a good material to form the seminarians. So ibinilik ako sa seminaryo. After spending 17 years in the seminary to train for the priesthood, after priesthood, balik din ako sa seminary and spent 3 years. Diyan sa Canlubang. I was teaching in Canlubang. Pero after 3 years, I said, ayoko na. Ilabas niyo na ako dito sa seminary. I want to experience other types. Ang binigay, I asked the superior to send me to Cebu because I was teaching there, for 3 years, and I really enjoyed mga Cebuanos and so on. So I said, you send me to Cebu to teach in Cebu. Okay, I will send you farther south. I will send you to Papua New Guinea. Mas malayo yung Papua New Guinea if you look at the map. So I was sent on mission after 3 years of priesthood. And I said, bakit ako? Wala naman ako intensyon na maging misyonaro. So I discerned, and then I asked so many of my superiors. I asked my mom, I asked my auntie, and they said, "You try it. Learn. You will learn so many things." Okay, so I tried. Sabi ko, anyway, ang binigay lang naman ng superior 2 years to spend there. Okay, to teach. Okay, so I accepted becoming a missionary in Papua New Guinea. That was 1993. And those 2 years turned into 13 years. I spent
13.
13 years in Papua New Guinea. Because after 2 years, I said, ang ganda pala dito. Ang ganda dito. to experience a different kind of ministry. Sa mga natives yan, mga locals, natives, Papua New Guineans. And then I cannot explain fully the culture. No? Pero it's very nice. They're so good. They are Christians. They're not Catholics. They're Christians. Most of them are Christians.
Okay.
30% lang ang Catholics. And then we have so many schools. So I was teaching. I was a principal. I put up a college to train teachers. And then in the weekend, we go apostolate and we say masses in the barrios, we teach catechism and so on. Kasi marami rin naman kaming mga kasama mga Pilipino. So those 13 years really formed me to be tough. To be tough, no? Ibig sabihin, ano man dumating sa buhay mo, you just take it and then do what you can. Because may faith ka naman eh. You have your faith in God, so use it, no? To fight your problems or difficulties. And then, of course, I intellectually I also progressed. I received my master's in education, kaya nakapag-set up ako ng college. And then, yung other experiences to meet other educational people, mga foreigners, doon talaga ako na humasa yung English ko. My English, because you have English is the
The main
spoken language,
language.
main language. Everybody speaks English there. Okay? Yung local language nila is called Pidgin. Pidgin English pa rin. Pero Pidgin,
English
yung
pa rin.
very simple English. Pero when you deal with academics, professors, doctors in education, you have to really, because I was setting up a college. So that was until 2006, 2007, I came back. Parang siguro na burn out ako because of so much work. And then ang discernment ko noon, sabi ko sa superior, ilagay mo naman ako sa direct pastoral work. So he sent me to Don Bosco Parish in Makati, where I spent 10 years, and then dito after those. So I'm in pastoral work now in the parish ministry. Yun ang mission after the priesthood ordination.
So that was pala, Father po, no, yung very colorful din pala po yung journey niyo, no? So parang never stop learning din, Father, no? Nag-masters pa po kayo for you to be able to put up a college there, no? Ang grabe.
Can I mention yung kasi part of the mission work in other foreign countries is really what I said is to toughen your character, to toughen your spirit. Kasi first of all, malayo ka sa pamilya mo. So you have to fight your loneliness, your homesickness.
Correct.
And then if you don't fight it, maghahanap ka ng mga compensation sa kung nasaan ka. It didn't happen to me. Because nga yung may community ako, and then yung personal background ko in my prayer life. But physically, I was assaulted by criminals. So siguro ito yung hindi na-experience ng many of the mission. I was assaulted twice in my office. They stole so many things and bound me up with my secretary. And then the last one is I was kidnapped for an overnight. I was kidnapped with a brother, a seminarian, and 2 students. But we were safe after that. But it was a really traumatic experience for me. Siguro ito rin yung naka-dampen ng spirit ko. Kasi, di ba, you offer your life for your students, for the people, at tapos yan yung babalik sa iyo para bang baliwala yung mga sacrifice. So, in a way that dampened my spirit, which made me decide to go back. No, so yun, at least yun. That's personally, hindi nangyayari ito sa karamihan, pero that's part of my journey as a missionary.
Wow. So, this is the first time that we're hearing these things, Father po, no? Na yung story nyo na you were kidnapped and grabe, you were assaulted twice. So, buti na lang, Father, na God save you pa rin from those situations.
God has a plan. Hindi ko pa panahon. God
Correct.
has a plan.
Opo, better plan. So, He always knows po no what's best for every one of us. Ayan, ngayon ko lang pala nakita ngayon kasi nasa private chat pala kanina. So yung mga comments ngayon ko lang po nakita dito. There were comments here, Father. Kanina pa po ito, kamusta po nga pala si Father Remo? We heard he was so parang they are praying for him din po and the entire members of the Don Bosco.
Okay, so I think you know Father Remo, so maybe it's good that you know his present condition. So he's now in Makati Medical Center. We had to rush him 2 days ago because medyo nahihirapan ng huminga. Tapos may spot dun sa kanyang cough. So, pero na-alarm kami. So we decided for better care and medications. Pero as of yesterday, okay naman. Naka-oxygen lang siya palagi. But he eats well. Wala siyang fever, wala siyang the normal symptoms of COVID. No? Basta yung nawala lang yung boses niya, and then yung nahihirapan huminga ka kaunti, and then that's it. So we're hoping that it will not become serious. So just please continue to pray for him.
Yes, we will, Father. We'll include him po sa prayer. So, on a lighter side naman, Father, dito may mga question po rito eh. After po ba ng pandemic, may concert ulit kayo, Father Ting? Ayan.
Kung magiging generous again ang mga tao, yes, we will organize a concert kasi ang daming mga projects.
Opo. So yan, we look forward to that, Father. Galing po kay Sis Monica, what's your favorite food daw, Father? Favorite color and favorite pastime?
Okay.
So interesting din po actually.
Favorite color ko. Yan.
Green.
Favorite color ko. My favorite food is kare-kare and lumpiang sariwa. Fresh lumpia. Ano pa isa?
Favorite pastime daw po?
Favorite pastime, basketball. Basta sports. Sports. Ayan. Tsaka music, of course.
Music. So, yep. Yun po yung mga question dito. Meron pa po. Let me just... Ito po, nasa screen natin. Full screen. How do we encourage from Sis Vanji po? How do we encourage more to enter these religious vocations now, knowing that there are lesser priests?
Mm-hmm.
So, partly parang na-answer nyo na po kanina partly, no? Pero go ahead po, Father.
So yung in-stress ko kanina yung foundation of religious life, spiritual life, prayer and religious influence sa family, lalo na sa parents. Now, how do you encourage for young people to enter? Pag-usapan niyo yung faith natin. Have more time to discuss our faith. Ano yung ginagawa natin sa simbahan? Anong ibig sabihin ng narinig natin sa gospel, sa Bible? So, you include spirituality into the family life and ordinary life. No? Kasi doon mag-iisip Doon mag-iisip doon tatakbo ang Holy Spirit kapag pinag-iisipan na ng mga kabataan. And then, of course, a good example, especially from adults and parents. No? So you try to live a good spiritual life, religious life. And of course, yung lalo na dito sa Don Bosco, no? We have so many friends, no? You can tell your kids to kung may questions sila, you ask our priests and sisters, no? Ayan, yung parang relationship ba, maganda rin niya. Kaya nga we foster youth groups, and especially sisimulan namin yung young adults groups tulad ng ginagawa ninyo para we enter into the life of the young people. Pero kayo mismo, you encourage them. No, you talk about religion and then you show good example.
So parang same with your experience, Father po, no? Parang it basically starts from home. You provide your children a good environment po, no? Where they can thrive, yung faith nila can thrive. And praying that, di ba, it will eventually grow and propel them to mission. Ayan.
Mm.
So, I hope that answers the question of Sis Vanji po. Ang laki ng role ng parents, no, Father? Grabe yung responsibility ng parents. Another comment po dito, I am so much blessed being Father Joey Paras friend. Ang ganda po ng community sa Kalawan. Di po ba, Father Ting? May mga alaga silang baboy, duck, gansa. Napakasarap mamuhay. Oo nga, ano? Yan ang buhay ng Salesian priest. Praying for you all, Father Ting. So, that's a comment
By the
from...
way, Father Joey is no longer in Calauan. He was transferred 2 years ago sa Tondo. He's now in Tondo.
Tondo naman po. Yan, may mga updates pa tayo, no? Para sa mga friend natin na pari. So, galing po kay Sis Monica Mendez. Father, saan mo madalas ma-experience si Lord? So, coming from audience na po yung binabasa nating question.
Yeah, of course. Dahil siguro, I'm a priest. So I experienced the Lord in the Holy Eucharist and in the other sacraments, no? Especially confession. At ngayon, lalo na dun sa praying over the sick, yung sacrament of healing natin, no? Anointing. So yung tatlong yun, at this time, at this present moment, doon ko madalas ma-experience ang Panginoon, and especially also in my personal prayer. Every morning before we go for Mass, we have 1 hour of prayer and meditation. Kaming apat at 6 o'clock bago kami mag-Mass. So yun ang aming daily devotion and rosary. So and also pa nga pala, I have to stress our devotion to Mama Mary. Napakalaking bahagi ito. Kahit sa inyo, you have to really foster devotion to our Blessed Mother, no? And ngayon, including Saint Joseph na. So Mama Mary and Saint Joseph, napakahalaga ito sa buhay ng bawat isa sa atin. So those are the things that made me experience the Lord.
Oh, Father, any practical tips for those people like me who parang always in a rush eh? Kasi Father, di ba, there are a lot of things to do, especially pag working, ganyan. So, any practical tip that you can give us, Father, wherein we would be able to really pause and yung para practice lang, Father, pause and talk to God and try to listen more to God. Kasi ako, guilty po ako dyan. I pray, but I always pray in rush, madalas. So, Father, any practical tips that you could give us?
One of the tips I will give you is one of the parang key to success of very successful people. Ito, mga lay people ito, hindi to religious. But later on, of course, nasabi mo na yung napakahalaga, yung prayer life in our daily routine. So, ang mahalaga kasi sa prayer is not the length, but the intensity and the intention.
Alright.
What is happening in your mind and in your heart? So it can even take a few seconds, pero very intense. Nandito gusto ko talagang gawin ito. Nasa puso mo. So that is the best prayer, kahit na napaka-short. So number 1 yon. And ang sinasuggest nila, especially the spiritual masters, if you are so busy, no, even if you're so busy, you try to find time, because you can always find time. If you cannot find time, then you are really too busy. But we are not busy talaga lahat. We can always find time. So you find time for prayer the whole day. Bahala ka. Kahit na bago matulog, bahala ka. You find time. You keep it every day, consistent. Consistent ang prayer time mo. And then, alam mo yung gagawin mo. May plano ka na. So that will help you develop that routine of prayer life. So maghanap ka ng panahon, keep it every day, persevering, and then you plan it. Kahit na very short, you plan it. Ang sinasabi ko kanina, no, one of the tips of the successful people is before they start their day, they do a meditation. Nag-meditate itong mga CEO, ha? Itong mga successful, sinabasa ko ito. They spend 30 minutes or 1 hour meditating.
Meditating.
Kasi meditating calms your body, calms your spirit. At kapag calm na, parang nawala na lahat, papasok yung ideas, papasok yung inspirasyon. So, from ordinary business people ito, ha? And that has been the practice of the church from the beginning. Meditation will help you connect to God from the very start of the day. So, you can do that in not necessarily 1 hour. You spend some time. Kahit na bago ka tumayo from waking up, you sit down, you think a little. Yung ginagawa ko yun eh. Kasi health-wise, maganda yun eh. Hindi yung tayo, tandig ka agad. Hindi. Dahan-dahan. Even your physical and spiritual, dahan-dahan. Let it flow. So, yun. That's one thing I remember about prayer life in your daily routine.
So it will develop your mindfulness then, Father, no?
Correct.
Comes to the
Isa
prayer.
pa, the practice of the Jesuits is, at the end of the day, you examine. So mindfulness at the start and examine at the end. That will help your spiritual life every day.
So
Kung
you
kaya mo
examine,
do it.
you examine what happened.
Yes.
What pans out during the day. Wow. So that's a good practice. So mga kapatid, make it a habit. All right? So salamat po, Father, for that practical tip. There are a lot of messages po sa chat box natin galing from Sis Miriam. By the way po, I am grateful to you, Father Ting, for all yes to us, for Nonoy Sevilla's healing mass while he was alive. All
Yes.
mass you presided during wake and blessings during inurnment and on his 90th of living us. So thank you daw po, Father.
Yes,
So
I said 2
we
masses.
at Tan Life have the great appreciation po. So yan, from Sis Miriam po yun. So ito po, maraming tanong si Sis Monica po, no? And then, Father, ito very practical question din, which probably apply to ano din. Mag-bless din ng maraming tao rito sa conversation natin na ito. How do you overcome your present frustrations daw po?
Yeah. May frustrations din kami, ano? Dahil ang dami naming gustong gawin na hindi magawa. First of all, we have just to accept it. No, we have to accept it. We have to be simple na yung wag natin ipipilit kung hindi talaga kaya, hindi pwede. So, secondly, we include it in our prayer. Prayer is not simply asking the Lord. Prayer is being yourself in front of the Lord. So kung frustrated ka, you present yourself as frustrated. May complain ka. If you are satisfied, you praise the Lord. If you are sad, you ask the Lord to be kind to you, to understand you, something like that. No? So, inilalapit namin sa prayer yung mga frustration. And then, maganda rin, psychology can help us here. You write, journal ka, nagjo-journal. And in counseling, maganda na may nakakausap ka eh. May natatanong ka, may napaglalabasan ka. And how do I do that? I have my best friend, another priest that I share, and so on. So, in my community here, medyo matatanda na sila. So, maganda yung ka-level mo, di ba? Yung kausap mo. So, and so on.
Ka-wavelength. So, parang a lot of tips there, Father, no? Journaling. Of course, you offer your frustration to God. So, it's okay, Father, no, to voice out your frustration to God through prayer. And another thing is, call a friend, dial a friend. Siguro you pray.
I don't know if you're doing that already in your community. So sa youth ministry namin, we are starting parang peer counseling.
Peer
Peer
counseling.
to peer. So
Peer to-
ang title namin is Peer for Fears.
Oh,
Tears for Fears. Natandaan niyo yung banda dati? Tears for Fears. Ewan ko lang kung buhay pa kayo nun. Buhay na kayo nun. Tears for Fears. May banda yung famous band yun noon. So naisip namin, peer to peer, ano? Peer for Fears. Maraming kinatatakutan mga kabataan. So I'm developing a program and a platform for that para ma-voice out ng mga kabataan ano yung frustrations nila, anong problema nila, and then another youth, senior youth will try to
wow.
advise. And ano.
So parang
Accompany.
dialogue, peer for fears po. Actually,
Peer
you
for peers. I will
peer,
type it here.
apo. So actually, parang we have the same mission. We have what we call yung Mission Academy, Father. So we called someone to just simply pray together. Parang ganun po yung sa feast naman. Alright? So, another question, Father. Tuloy-tuloy na po natin to, Father, ha? Medyo abusuhin na po namin kayo. Talagang mga practical yung tinatanong nila, Father, na makakatulong for us. Galing po ito kay Sis Monica Mendez naman. Father, what's your message for people with mental health concerns? Actually, very common na yata ito, Father, ngayon, no?
Yes.
Kasi with our situation, pandemic, and a lot of things happening. So, Father, your message to those people.
So we have to understand these people because of the kung ano man yung situation na they're undergoing. So understanding, ano, kung kasama natin yung mga nag-undergo, you have to understand them, be patient, accompany them, and so on. Ang kailangan kasi nila is yung presence, and sometimes yung makakausap, and people who understand them. And then, kung ano sila, spiritually minded, we have to suggest to pray and to insist on the trust in God. Trust in God. So, kung masasabi natin yon, they will not react. Because sometimes, dahil nga mentally confused na, galit na, even mention of God, hindi na nila tatanggapin. So, just be careful. We have to understand. So, yung tinatawag naming accompaniment for these people, and of course, kung talagang malala na, we have to really endorse them to professionals na. No? Take this seriously. I would say take this seriously. Those people with mental problems, they show signs. No? Please take it seriously. Kasi talagang ang sitwasyon natin ngayon is it's overpowering. So magtulungan tayo. Pero be observant talaga and try to understand those people.
Understanding and empathy, Father po. No?
At saka para sa akin yung may nakakausap na ilalabas nila kailangan mailabas nila somehow in whatever form. So somebody who will listen, somebody who will be there. So yun ang palagay ko mahalaga yon, no? We do counseling here. We do counseling, so anybody who we can offer counseling services. Yeah.
Ayun. So, Sis Monica, yun po. From Father Ting. Hope that answers your question. Sabi po ni Sis Monica Aguilar naman, ganda po nun, prayers being yourself in front of the Lord. Thank you po, Father, for reminding us. And so, Father, mukhang nabasa ko na lahat ng question nila. So, it's been an hour since we started na rin po, Father, no? So, siguro before we end po, ang question na lang is, can you give us your favorite verse naman, Father? Yung go-to verse nyo po or parang yung North Star verse ng buhay nyo, Father, na naging guide nyo sa journey nyo in general po.
The Bible quotation I used in my ordination is John 8:32. The truth will set you free. So, yun ang parang inspirasyon ko noon. Now, the truth will set you free. We know that Christ is the truth. So, in a way, Jesus, when we are close to Jesus, we are confident that we will always be in the truth. No, kasi ang experience ko noon yung parang takot ako eh. Natatakot ako, so I cover myself with so many lies and so on, pretending. So sabi ko, no, I will open myself to Jesus, and he takes care of me. So the truth will really set you free. And then the second verse I have is the Good Shepherd verse of John chapter 10. I am the Good Shepherd. Kasi yan ang buhay ko ngayon eh. To shepherd people and to lead them to God. So that strengthens me and that encourages me to continue the ministry.
Ayun. So, yun yung mga Bible verse pala ni Father that's guiding him. Father, ito po, I'm sure marami pang thoughts sila, marami pang question na on their minds, but unfortunately, we don't have much time po, no? Any last words po for the people who are listening right now and probably experiencing some challenges in their life? So, any last words po for them?
Yeah, that's correct. No, we know that our situation nowadays is really very, very difficult. And of course, we don't have to discuss kung saan nanggaling to, because kung si Father Batica, sa demonyo nagagaling ito. So what is happening to us is not God's will. But the will of God is He will take out something good from what is something bad. So in that, we have to trust God. So siguro ang talagang panlaban natin or yung magagawa natin to strengthen our faith and trust in God. Kasi lahat ito matatapos ito. This is part of God's plan, and He will take out the good. Good lang ang talagang gusto ng Diyos kahit na we are undergoing something difficult. So just trust Him. Huwag tayong madi-discourage. We do what we can, and especially yung to help. No? Kasi yung helping people, being charitable, being good is already a therapy in itself eh. If you are undergoing mental problems, by doing good, by going out of yourself, it's already a therapy. It will help you. Kasi nandun ang Diyos.
Wow. So God will take the good out of our situation, Father, no? So just trust the Lord. So salamat po for that, Father. Actually, may isang question pa rito. Might as well. Father, kung okay lang po, tanong ko to, Father, kasi baka hindi makatulog yung nag-type nito. Father, in your personal stand, need po ba maging vocal ang church sa politics?
No.
So,
Personal ko, no.
No.
The church, alam ng church ang ang role niya eh. Faith and morals. So if the church has to say something, kahit na sa government, it has to be in line with our faith and our morality. Yon. Yung politics, we leave it to the lay Catholic people. Kayo dapat ang nag-vocal nun. Pero kami, we are your leaders in faith and morals. So talagang i-guide namin kayo doon. We will speak against the government in faith and morals kung labag na sa ating pananampalataya at morality. But for politics, we leave it to you. You have to be the one to speak.
Yeah. So very clear answer to that question. Salamat po, Father, for taking that one. Yun po, so sige po. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. Thank you, Father, once again for sparing an hour for these FSN conversations. Very helpful, very practical tips. No, what we got is from your personal journey, Father, before your clergy life is number one, environment is very important. No, para mag-grow din yung kung may faith, if you are a parent. So nurture your children kung nakikitaan nyo ng sabi ni Father ng interest on the vocation. Tapos another thing, Father, is that we got is of course yung mga practical tips nyo po about siyempre prayer time. Make it a daily habit.
I forgot. Sorry.
Sige
Ah,
po.
pero yung sa prayer time kasi part of the suggestion ko. So, di ba yung time? Choose a time,
Apa.
be consistent, and choose a place.
Choose a
Consistent
place.
place. Hindi ka
Distant place.
papalit-palit ng lugar. And then,
Okay.
of course, yung structure. Alam mo na yun. So, yun, nakalimutan ko yun.
So
Place.
para pag nakita nyo, Father, yung place na yon na this is my parang sanctuary.
Hmm.
This is where I pray. Salamat po for that. And then, journaling is also helpful. Sabi nung isa dito nating sister, sino ba yun? Si Sis Rich, sabi niya, she loves the ano daw po, the daily examine at the end of the day.
Hmm.
So that's something that you mentioned din po earlier. And to those who are experiencing mental issues, no, so if you know someone, understand them, empathize with them, yan po yung tip sa atin ni Father. And of course, pray. Pray for them. Pray with them. So with that, Father, we hate to close this FSN conversation. Salamat po for all the practical tips and for all the wisdom that you have imparted to us, to everyone who are listening, no, based on your experience. Salamat po for sharing a part of you tonight sa amin po. You've been such an inspiration to all of us po, Father. And
Hmm.
with that, salamat once again. God bless po. And we will be continue praying po for the Don Bosco Parish kasi
Hmm.
we are aware naman of the situation. So you are in our prayers. Salamat po once again. And yep, that's it for tonight's FSN Conversations. See you again next time. See you tomorrow. Don't forget, we have feast at home and of course, Mass, 8 o'clock. Then the talk will start 9 o'clock. See you. Thank you for tuning with us. God bless everyone. Bye bye. Have a good night. See you all tomorrow.